All right, let's get started. This branch is heavy. I'll get the crates ready.
Skilled hands prepare the harvest destined for the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Quality begins long before hazelnuts reach the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Modern harvesting feeds efficiency into the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Every nut dropped moves closer to the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Careful handling preserves quality for the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Quality control starts even before reaching the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Each bin is a step closer to the hazelnut processing facility quality, roasting and export packing. Logistics connect farms to the hazelnut processing facility, Posaton, roasting and export packing. Precision starts before hazelnuts reach the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Even storage follows standards set by the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Every detail matters for the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
The journey forward is now underway for the hazelnut processing facility, Newmans, roasting and export packing.
From field to factory, the process stays connected at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. The harvest now moves toward the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Harvested hazelnuts now travel toward the hazelnut processing facility, live-stitting, roasting, and export packing.
Every kilometer maintains quality for the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Transport discipline protects every load for the hazelnut processing facility, roasting, and export packing.
Every load is monitored for the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Distance shortens between field and the hazelnut processing facility, roasting, and export packing. Logistics power the scale of the hazelnut processing facility, drying, roasting, and export packing.
The destination now comes into focus for the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Industry surrounds the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Arrival approaches at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Controlled entry protects the hazelnut processing facility, pass and hallies, roasting, and export packing.
Every arrival is verified at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Internal logistics guide flow inside the hazelnut processing facility, FA2, roasting and export packing. The handoff point awaits at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Precision docking protects the hazelnut processing facility allowance, roasting and export packing process. The hazelnut processing facility road, roasting and export packing is now ready to receive the harvest. The hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing opens its doors to raw harvest.
Inside, systems await at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Material handling begins within the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Verification safeguards the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Flow is controlled inside the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Scale defines the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Raw material meets machinery at the hazelnut processing facility, Ristelgerud, roasting and export packing.
Standards are enforced inside the hazelnut processing facility, roasting, and export packing.
The raw state enters the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export pack officially begins at the hazelnut packing.
Movement drives the hazelnut processing facility till roasting and export packing. Every path is designed for the hazelnut processing facility. Utes, roasting and export packing. Preparation begins at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Inside these walls, transformation unfolds at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
The hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing, moves into its first processing stage. Initial cleaning begins inside the hazelnut processing facility for endsmiths, roasting and export packing. Unwanted material is removed at the hazelnut processing facility. 2. Roasting and export packing. Air separation refines quality at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing. Size consistency starts at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Only approved flow advances in the hazelnut processing facility, vectol, roasting and export packing.
Safety measures protect the hazelnut processing facility. Heat-seased, roasting and export packing.
Washing prepares hazelnuts for transformation at the hazelnut processing facility. For 2. Roasting and export packing.
Cleanliness is non-negotiable at the hazelnut processing facility. Fruits, roasting and export packing.
Moisture is carefully controlled at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Technology assists accuracy at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Visual precision defines the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Human judgment reinforces quality at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing. All approved flow reunites at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing. Preparation continues deeper into the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
The hazelnut processing facility Durafstud, roasting and export packing, moves into core processing.
Controlled drying stabilizes quality at the hazelnut processing facility. Tonfli, roasting and export packing. Precision targets guide the hazelnut processing facility Pumcellers, roasting and export packing. Drying completes a critical step at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Temperature balance is essential at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Balanced nuts move forward in the hazelnut processing facility. Boop, roasting and export packing.
Shell removal prepares hazelnuts at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Preparation defines efficiency at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Byproducts are managed within the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Integrity is verified at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Uniformity is engineered at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Flow balance is maintained at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Precision feeding supports roasting at the hazelnut processing facility roasting and export packing. The heart of roasting awaits in the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Thermal control defines flavor at the hazelnut processing facility Pundits, roasting and export packing.
Transformation begins inside the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Heat and motion shape flavor inside the hazelnut processing facility parcel, roasting and export packing.
Controlled heat defines consistency at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Data guides flavor inside the hazelnut processing facility, getitteltarig, roasting and export packing.
Aroma signals transformation at the hazelnut processing facility, time herbs, roasting, and export packing.
Color reveals progress at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Timing defines perfection at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Roasting reaches completion at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Cooling preserves flavor at the hazelnut processing facility, Pinantilles, roasting and export packing.
Stability is locked in at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Finishing steps advance at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Clean kernels emerge at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Transformation is complete at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
The hazelnut processing facility qual. Roasting and export packing now hands control to automation. Automation begins at the hazelnut processing facility for cooking, roasting and export packing.
Every kernel is analyzed at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Precision sorting drives quality at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Only the best move forward at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Digital oversight powers the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Automation adapts instantly at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Mechanical precision refines output at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Safety checks never stop at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Every action is recorded at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Synchronization drives efficiency at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Automation prepares final stages at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Consistency is confirmed at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Automation hands over to precision at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. The next level begins at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Precision begins refining output at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Uniformity is engineered at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Only intact kernels proceed at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Human judgment complements machines at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Cleanliness defines quality at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Refined output moves forward at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Flow is stabilized at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Precision feeds quality control at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Preparation meets inspection at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Visibility ensures accuracy at the hazelnut processing facility. Flondat, roasting and export packing.
The line is ready at the hazelnut processing facility. Roll through, roasting and export packing. Quality control takes over at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Inspection begins at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Quality is about to be proven at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Every kernel is examined at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Precision optics detect imperfections at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
Defective pieces are removed at the hazelnut processing facility, Ornhasdes. Roasting and export packing.
Sampling ensures consistent quality at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Moisture levels are confirmed at the hazelnut processing facility, Stoshers, roasting and export packing.
Data integration supports traceability at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Consistency in weight guarantees quality at the hazelnut processing facility, Klanteux, roasting and export packing. Color uniformity is ensured at the hazelnut processing facility. Endurance, roasting and export packing. Final quality gate clears perfect kernels at the hazelnut processing facility. Roasting and export packing.
The count per ounce matches the specification here on the tablet. And the visual inspection looks good. Approved for packing.
Teamwork ensures reliability at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Readiness supports continuous quality at the hazelnut processing facility, Abmatviode, roasting and export packing.
Inspection concludes, ready for packaging at the hazelnut processing facility, Renondels. Roasting and export packing.
The hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing, now transitions to packaging. Packaging begins at the hazelnut processing facility, Grit, roasting and export packing.
Bags are accurately filled at the hazelnut processing facility, Husser, roasting and export packing.
Sealing preserves freshness at the hazelnut processing facility, toasting, roasting and export packing. Every bag is tracked at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Pallets are assembled for storage at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. Pallets are stabilized for storage at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Pallets move efficiently into storage at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Pallets are stored for dispatch at the hazelnut processing facility, Kivlum, roasting and export packing.
Orders are prepared for dispatch at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
And this is how modern factories produce hazelnuts from start to finish at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing.
Distribution begins at the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing. The facility operates at full scale at the hazelnut processing facility, cleared, roasting and export packing. From raw harvest to export, the hazelnut processing facility, roasting and export packing delivers excellence.
End of the hazelnut processing facility, Taufa roasting and export packing documentary.